The year is almost over. 2024 has been an incredible year for music. We had epic collaborations, one of the wildest beefs in music history, surprise releases. There's plenty to talk about. I am Francesco, and today I'm going to look back at my year in music and I'll give you my favorite albums and projects for this year. I think I've listened to more music this year than ever before. I'll do a deep dive into a few standout albums that really blew me away this year, and it wasn't easy to choose which one is my favorite album, but I'm going to tell you in this video. There are also 3 albums on this list that I think are going to go down as all-time classics, so stay tuned. Make sure to tell me your favorite albums in the comment section. It would be nice to compare your list to mine, so do this. And don't forget to subscribe and like, which would help a lot. Before I jump into the deep dive, I want to highlight some honorable mentions that definitely deserve a shout out. All right, you ready? So let's go. Let's get into the honorable mentions for 2024, and we're going to start with Ab-Soul Soul Burger. 2 years after the release of one of my favorite albums of 2022, Herbert, Ab-Soul's 6th studio album came out in early November with features ranging from Blast, Doechii, Lupe Fiasco, Vince Staples, and more. Plus, we have productions from Ninth Wonder, Butcher, Soundwave. So this album is really a solid project. And my favorite tracks on this one are All That, California Dream, and Righteous Man. All right, next we got Master Ace and Marco Polo, Richmond Hill. It's the second collab album after Brooklyn Story, and Richmond Hill convinces both on the production but also on the lyrical side. It's a really enjoyable album. We got features ranging from the Cali group Coast Contra. We got legend Inspector Deck, EMC rapper Strickling, and Wordsworth on this one. Speech, we got Blue, Chez Noir. We got dope boom bap beats by Marco Polo, great lyrics by Master Ace. And favorite tracks on this project are Certified, Below the Clouds, Jordan Theory, Money Problems, Plant-Based. As you can see, there are many dope tracks. Listen to the album if you haven't. Another great project that was released this year, Common Saints, Cinema 3000. It's a debut album for the South London songwriter Charlie J. Perry. It gives us vast cinematic soundscapes that blends different genres together, but mostly we hear soulful 70s psychedelic sounds. But as I said before, there are also different genres that range from, also some kind of jazzy vibes here and there. Great features, for example, also on the song Dream On, which is also one of my favorite tracks. Other standout tracks are Dreams and Piece of War. Now, listen to the project if you haven't. Common Saints, Cinema 3000, great. Next, we got singer, songwriter, producer, actor Leon Thomas with his project Mutt. On this project, Leon Thomas deals with relationships, identity on the second album of his. And he fuses R&B, soul, occasionally also rock elements. And we've got Leon Thomas with these airy, soulful R&B vocals that really fit together great. We got features from Masego, rapper Wale, Ty Dolla $ign. We also got Freddie Gibbs on the remix to the viral hit Mutt. And really great tracks for me are Safe Place, Vibes Don't Lie, Feelings on Silent, and of course the viral jam Mutt. So Leon Thomas, Mutt, great project as well. All right, next project. 18-year-old singer, producer, songwriter Lila released this album gap year this year after her viral hit Not My Problem that you all probably heard on social media. So this album really surprised me. It's a really sincere and raw sounding album where she mainly talks about relationships and love. It's fully produced by herself, and I think that she was heavily influenced by, artists like Brandy, Aaliyah, but also I think Lauryn Hill. So you can hear these influences really well on this project. Favorite tracks on this album are Talent Show, Are You Down? And if you're listening, one little fun fact, she is Yazin bass Mos Def's daughter, so it will be interesting to see what she will do next. Last honorable mention for 2024 is Jamba Groove, Ye en Casa, We Ourselves. The group Jamba Groove consists of lead singer, percussionist Eric Owusu and bass player and producer Yannick Nolting. They've released their second studio album, which is, is a mixture of different sounds. So if you listen, for example, to Ghanaian highlife music, you also probably have heard of Ebo Taylor as a legendary guitarist and composer. So Jamba Groove actually consists of former band members of Ebo Taylor. Now, this album is a mix of soul, jazz, and as I said before, Ghanaian highlife. It's just a great listen. I can listen to this thing the whole day. Favorite tracks on this one are Dabia, Agia, Sweet My Ear, and Asem Ben. So, last honorable mention for this year. Now, let's take a look at my favorite albums for 2024. My favorite albums of 2024, we're going to start with Schoolboy Q, Blue Lips. TDE rapper Schoolboy Q released his 6th studio album in March this year, and this album just flows perfectly. Blue Lips features a range of different artists from Freddie Gibbs, Ab-Soul, Lance Skywalker, Rico Nasty, but there are many more features. Schoolboy Q returned in a big way this year with Blue Lips, and let me tell you, this album did not disappoint. After a 5-year wait, after Crash Talk, this album is really a great comeback after this long period of time. What stands out immediately for me is the confidence and range that Q shows on this album. Tracks like Thank God For Me take you on a journey with beat switches that go from hyped up anthems to a rather more laid back flow or vibe. While we have my favorite track, Blue Slides, which is a heartfelt tribute to Mac Miller, brings a level of emotional depth that I think I heard from Q for the very first time on this project. The vocal sample and Tay Beast's production on this track are just perfect. There's so many great tracks on this album. We have, for example, the production of Alchemist on Lost Time featuring Jossie. This is definitely also a highlight, and I really hope that Q is going to work more with Alchemist in future projects. Would be great. Lovebirds and Ohio are also great songs on this album. And let's not forget Pig Feet. This track is pure energy, mosh pit music at its finest. It's heavy, aggressive, and it's just so much fun to listen to. Blue Lips is one of those albums that flows seamlessly from the beginning to the end. Q's versatility, confidence, creative energy are on full display, making this one of the best rap albums of the year. Let me know what you think. Is this Q's best project so far? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Next up, we got Kamasi Washington, Fearless Movement. Kamasi Washington first caught my attention with his saxophone performance on Kendrick Lamar's project To Pimp a Butterfly, and since then the LA-based saxophone player has really become one of my all-time favorite jazz artists. This year he blessed us with his 7th studio album. Fearless Movement isn't just an album, it's a sonic experience that takes you, on this spiritual journey. From the very first track, Lozano, you are immersed in lush soundscapes with chanting voices, clapping rhythms, ecstatic saxophone solos. It's like stepping into another world. What I love about this album is not only the musical range, musical diversity, but also its emotional range. We got tracks like Get Lit, featuring P-Funk legend George Clinton, which brings this infectious celebratory energy. But on the other hand, we also got songs like Dream State with Andre 3000. I listened to this album for the very first time on a flight, and this song is definitely a trip. It is one of my most listened songs this year, and it has this pulsating energy that is just full of life. Kamasi weaves together elements of jazz, funk, soul, hip-hop, creating a project that feels both timeless and contemporary. It's not just an album you listen to, you really have to feel this one. If you're into artists like Pharoah Sanders or John Coltrane, you are going to like this album a lot. This album is a great experience. You get a project with so many talented artists blending their crafts together, and you've got Kamasi Washington as the conductor that brings everything together and blends it perfectly. Kamasi Washington, Fearless Movement, also one of my most listened to and favorite albums of this year. Tyler, the Creator's album Chromacopia feels like a glimpse into his personal diary. Raw, honest, and unapologetically experimental. This album balances vulnerability and confidence, with Tyler opening up emotionally while still reminding us of his lyrical brilliance. One of the most unique aspects of this album is Tyler's mother serving as a narrator. Her voice appears at key moments, either reflecting on the past or offering commentary on the themes of the songs, which makes this project really intimate and special. It adds a deeply personal layer, especially when Tyler opens up about his father's absence and the complexities of their family dynamic. Oftentimes, when albums are that personal, they fall flat on the production side of things and are too monotonous or rely on one type of sound to convey a certain feeling. This is not the case with Chromacopia. I would argue that production-wise, this is Tyler's best and most diverse album to date. We've got a sample from Zambian Zamrock group Ngozi Family on Noit, which I really enjoyed. We got songs like Take Your Mask Off, which showcases a laid-back vibe with laid-back drums and soulful keys that are topped with stunning vocals from LaToya Williams and Daniel Caesar. Then there's Thought I Was Dead, which features Schoolboy Q, which is an absolute banger, or Balloon, the song featuring Doechii, which also has this energetic and playful vibe that's impossible not to love. The vulnerability peaks on tracks like Tomorrow and Like Him, where Tyler reflects on fame, love, and self-doubt. Chromacopia stands out because it's so deeply introspective, yet undeniably entertaining. It's Tyler at his most human, and I think this is what makes it so special. Is this Tyler, the Creator's best album to date? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Kendrick. What can I say that hasn't been said before about this album? GNX came out of nowhere, and like every K-Dot project, it just messes with your brainwaves somehow, and you keep repeating these phrases and lines from the album for days. Peekaboo! Since this album came out, I've got a different favorite track every day. First it was Man at the Garden, then Luther, then The Hard Part 6, then TV Off, then Reincarnated, then... This album is a victory lap. Not only because of the Drake beef this summer, but K-Dot just sounds confident, energetic, and proud on this record. It's so different from Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, which is a great album, but how often are you really going to listen to songs like We Cry Together? You've got bangers on GNX. The production on this album is more West Coast sounding, with Soundwave, Mustard, and Jack Antonoff, who are heavily involved on the production side. Especially Mustard seems to have ignited something in Kendrick's delivery. Speaking of delivery, one thing I've noticed is how hard the last verses hit on this album. The ending of Man at the Garden, for instance, Reincarnated, Whacked Out Murals, and TV Off, they really peak in the last verses, so check them out again and notice how these last verses really hit. The Hard Part 6 is one of the standout songs on this album. I love how Kendrick still represents TDE, even though he's no longer on the label. The beat, the SWV sample, the message. Dodger Blues as well is one of those songs that I just hoped that it would be longer. So what's up with these short songs, the tracks anyway, on these albums? But that's, a topic for another time. I just enjoy vibing to the song. Really love the features on this one. We got wildest Sensei, Roddy Ricch, and Siete. They just sound perfect on this one. So looking also forward to checking their projects out, which, really great voices, great track. Luther just really warms my heart every time I hear it. The sample is just perfect. Kendrick's delivery is on point. but SZA's performance on this song is just something else. Her voice, intonation, and cadence is really elevating this song to a whole nother level. This is probably my favorite Kendrick and SZA collaboration to this day. What do you think? Is this the best Kendrick and SZA collaboration? Let me know. All right, now we have to talk about Reincarnated. Lyrically, I think it's the strongest track on this album, together with Man at the Garden. But on this song, we learn about Kendrick's previous lives. The devil's story is being told. We get a conversation with God, and the beat and flow pays homage to Pac. Now, what else do you want? This is just incredible. One of my favorite songs on this album. Then we have bangers like Squabble Up, Hey Now, Whacked Out Murals, and TV Off, where K-Dot's delivery, energy, and bars are just proving again and again and again that K-Dot is the GOAT. Now, is GNX the album of 2024? My favorite album of 2024? I think for many people it will be the favorite album or their favorite album of 2024. I think I need some more time with the album, but it is definitely a great record, and I think sonically it is not my favorite K-Dot album, but it's a really great project by King Kendrick, and let's see what happens at the Super Bowl, and I think there is also something else coming next year. Next up, Doechii, Alligator Bites Never Heal. This one is without a doubt one of my most played rap projects this year. It's a mixtape, but it really feels like an album. In 2021, Doechii signed with Top Dog Entertainment, went on tour with Doja Cat in 2023. In 2024, she's really just everywhere. She also received a Grammy nomination for Best New Artist. Her mixtape Alligator Bites Never Heal received 2 nominations, one for Best Rap Performance for the song Is An Ultima, and the other one for Best Rap Album. So quite a year for Doechii. What blew me away was the sheer variety on this project. We're not just getting one type of sound or style here, we're witnessing an artist showcasing an incredible versatility. From rapping to storytelling to singing, you get everything. But let's start with her bars on this project. Tracks like Bullfrog, Boiled Peanuts, and Catfish show her razor-sharp lyricism and that old-school, almost Wu-Tang inspired energy. She's aggressive, witty, and just really, really fun to listen to. Then you've got songs like Denial is a River, where her storytelling is just on point, but it doesn't stop there. Tracks like Wait, Fireflies, and Beverly Hills highlight her vocal range. She's also a great singer. I mean, I had to double check to see if it's really her that was singing, because I couldn't believe it. So I was checking the credits. The production is just as diverse as herself, with everything from boom bap beats to trap anthems and R&B slow jams. There are no skips on this project. Every track offers something fresh, and it keeps you hooked from start to finish. Now, if you haven't listened to this album yet, seriously, what are you doing? Also, make sure to check out her Tiny Desk performance that just dropped. Really, really dope. Doechii, Alligator Bites Never Heal, one of my favorite albums of 2024. I think there are 2 projects that are going to go down as absolute masterpieces. First, we got Shabaka Hutchings. He's a British jazz musician, composer, and band leader in several groups, such as Sons of Kemet and Shabaka and the Ancestors. The interesting thing about Shabaka is that while growing up in Barbados, he would practice the clarinet by playing along to Nas, Tupac, or Biggie songs. And you can definitely hear these hip-hop influences in his projects. In the last years, Shabaka was most known for his saxophone performances. In 2022, he released his debut solo EP entitled African Culture. 2 years later, his first solo full-length album release might have surprised listeners, given that he hardly plays the saxophone on this project. Perceive its beauty, acknowledge its grace, by Shabaka is an absolute masterpiece. Having exchanged the saxophone for a Japanese bamboo flute, this album is a musical journey through lush and wide soundscapes that evoke a vivid imagery. If you've listened to Andre 3000's album Blue Sun, you might have heard Shabaka and his flute there. An interesting aspect on this project is the lack of drums, or almost lack of drums and percussive elements. Only on track 9, Breathing, drums appear. It's not easy to choose my favorite track on this album. I think you should really sit down and enjoy this project in one sitting to perceive its beauty. However, the song I'll Do Whatever You Want is probably my most listened to track from this album. It features British electronic music producer Floating Points and multi-instrumentalist Laraji and Andre 3000. The arrangement and overall production of the song is just mind-blowing. Several gifted artists like harp player Brandy Younger, poet Saul Williams, vocalist Eska, and bassist Esperanza Spalding joined Shabaka on this wonderful project as well. You should listen to this album because it's a literal experience. If you like artists like Pharoah Sanders, John Coltrane, Kamasi Washington, you probably will enjoy this album from the get-go. I suggest you sit down, grab a drink, and zone out to Shabaka, perceive its beauty, acknowledge its grace. Instant classic. You've seen it the whole time behind me. This is my favorite rap project for 2024. One of my favorite MCs plus one of my favorite producers on the same project. I know, I might be biased here, but this was everything I wanted from a project like this. Dope beats, dope rhymes, Common and Pete Rock, The Auditorium, Volume 1. Common is known for his reliance on 1 or 2 producers per project, like No ID on Resurrection, Dilla on Like Water for Chocolate, or Kanye on B. This time it is Pete Rock, legend, New York-based producer, and right from the start, the track Dreamin' gives us a good idea where this project is going to lead us. We got sample-heavy boom bap beats and bars. The Aretha Franklin sample on this track really elevates this song. It's just an awesome banger right at the beginning. There aren't many features on The Auditorium Volume 1. There's singer, soul performer Bilal on the great song So Many People. We got Jennifer Hudson on the track A God, and singer PJ, who is featured on the song Everything's So Grand. We get one rap feature on the album. On the track When the Sun Shines Again, De La Soul's Posthumous delivers a very dope, short but introspective verse on this track. There's so many tracks that I like on this album. There aren't any skips. However, We Are On Our Way, Wise Up, and Now and Then are really highlights for me on this album. On We Are On Our Way, Common effortlessly raps about his hometown Chicago. We have a Curtis Mayfield sample, and it's just majestic. Then we got Wise Up, which is also one of the singles of this album. It's really a sonic time capsule of the golden era of hip-hop. We got vocal cuts of MC Shan's classic song The Bridge, which takes us right back to the 80s. Now here, Common pays tribute to hip-hop on this song. Now and Then is probably my favorite track of this whole project right now. Could change, but here Common alludes to his past projects by including songs and album titles of his previous projects, the choir in the hook, and the cuts at the end of the song. This is just pure hip-hop. You should listen to this album if you love hip-hop. Period. This project is really a tribute to hip-hop, not only sonically, giving Pete Rock's boom bap, soul sample beats, but also thematically. There are many references to hip-hop culture, and it really isn't a coincidence that both are Grammy nominated for this project. Common, Pete Rock, The Auditorium Volume 1, my favorite rap project for 2024. So that's it, my favorite albums of 2024. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let me know your favorite albums of 2024. I wish you a happy new year and a blessed 2025 with a lot of music, a lot of art, and, you know, just a great year. See you in the next video. Peace out.